guess I won't go to the store and pull it out then.
You should definitely not go to any stores and pull anything out unless it's your wallet, son. Hey guys,
Hey everybody,
Jake Vamp.
Big Ben here.
We are headed to see A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood where Tom Hanks is Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
We've got Grandma with us.
Yep.
And we are headed out. Sorry guys, it's a little dark. Hopefully you can see us a little bit with the little light.
Apparently it's a beautiful night in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about this movie so far, going in?
Okay, so like I'm old enough to remember new episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Same here.
Right.
Huge part of my childhood.
And I grew up on the show, and it's gonna be.
You grew up on the show?
Yeah. No.
Like they were filming you and everything?
Oh no, absolutely not.
I know.
They didn't recognize my greatness until much later.
I know, right? We're like Morgan Freeman. We're hitting our stride.
When I was a boy. He always starts every sentence with that for some reason.
Because he's great and he knows he can. Morgan Freeman is the shit. Go ahead.
But yeah, Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, 3-2-1 Contact. When I saw it, I was like, all right, this looks interesting. Kind of a behind-the-scenes story of the Mr. Rogers show, which I didn't even know I wanted until it happened.
Well, I've loved watching like the real life goings on of what Mr. Rogers did. He was a great guy, at least as far as I know.
Right.
He's never done anything like legally wrong or any of that stuff, and he put up a fight for the kids of America, man. You can look online, and there's at least one video that I can recall that he's fighting to keep PBS on the air, and you can just see how calm and collected he is, and just there's no like anger, but there's passion,
Right.
And the judge is like, okay, we'll keep it on the air, and I'll double the
nice
the money, and it was just it's fucking an amazing thing to watch.
Tom Hanks looks a lot like Mr. Rogers.
He does. Yeah, you know why?
I hear that he might be related.
Yes, he is apparently a distant cousin of Mr. Rogers.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is that?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure everybody is a distant cousin of somebody, but
of course, yeah, but
that's just really cool that he's a distant cousin of Mr. Rogers and he's playing Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guys, it's raining. That's why you hear the
right. It's not really a beautiful night in this neighborhood.
It's beautiful.
Dark, stormy. It's a
rain.
dark and stormy night.
That's beautiful. Because Jake Vamp loves the rain. But so Mr. Rogers, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Mr. Conductor, aka George Carlin.
George Carlin. Right.
Who else? There was one more.
That's Rufus, by the way, not Mr. Conductor.
Mr. Conductor.
Rufus.
Mr. Conductor.
Rufus.
He was Mr. Conductor first.
I'll go back and change that.
Good luck. There was one more. Who was it? Damn it, I can't remember. Mr. Rogers, Bill Nye, George Carlin. Oh, Stan Lee. Duh. Stan Lee.
From the same family tree, huh?
No, that's like all of my idols growing up that like shaped me
right
as an adult today. know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is they were all about equality and not giving a shit about anybody else. You know, as far as like, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, who fucking cares?
Exactly.
You know, and they were all like that. You know, you can see it in Stan Lee's comic books. You can see it in George Carlin's comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it in Bill Nye the Science Guy even today on his Twitter, on his Netflix show, everything, where he's just accepting of everybody. And Mr. Rogers, you know, just great people. I think it's kind of sad that we don't have.
I guess I can definitely say that some of the values that I have today are because I watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood as a kid.
Yeah. And some of that curiosity too, right?
Yeah.
Because you remember that he used to play that, he'd come in, he'd sing a song, and they'd show like a 5-minute clip. I'm going the speed limit and you're passing.
That's
in the rain. Anyway, he would show that 5-minute clip of them making something. It was crayons or, you know, whatever, kind of a how it's made type of thing in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember them doing that a lot.
Yeah.
I remember
I think it was every
Imagination
episode.
Land.
Yeah. And Daniel Tiger, which is still around, he has his own cartoon and toys and everything, a whole line of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, trolley.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was a really cool show, and I always liked to tune in to watch. And there was something just warm and friendly about the guy.
Exactly.
You know,
he was very soft spoken.
Yeah. Somebody you felt like maybe you might be comfortable being around.
And I will not apologize for crying at this movie if anything sad happens. Because, like, at the end, you know, it's going to say, you know, Mr. Rogers lived to the end this day or whatever. I'm probably going to be bawling. And that's why the wife isn't here right now, because she wanted to see it, but she said she wasn't going to because she knew she'd be crying at the movie. But,
well, that just means it's a good movie.
Yeah, right? But I'm really excited. Did you see? So there's 2 new trailers that just dropped.
The Black Widow trailer?
No. Did that drop already?
Yes.
Really?
And guess who's in it?
No. That's not the one I'm talking about. That one dropped a week ago.
Yeah.
That one was great. We will say that one. I really enjoyed the Black Widow. I did forget about it though. Go ahead and say what you were going to say.
The sheriff from Stranger Things. I can't remember his name, but he's in it.
Oh, Hopper?
Hopper, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I knew he was in it. He's the Russian Captain America.
Yeah.
But
old fat Russian Captain America, I guess.
Yeah. But no, the two trailers I'm talking about is Wonder Woman 1984 and the new Ghostbuster Afterlife.
So I haven't seen the Wonder Woman one yet, and I'm going to just as soon as I can. But the new Ghostbusters one I've watched like 7 times. I'm so thankful they're ignoring the reboot.
To be quite honest, dude, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but I did not hate the reboot.
What?
With the women. It was just as cheesy as the originals.
No.
Yes.
No.
Have you watched the originals lately?
Yes. 100,000 times.
Lately? Because I watched them recently.
Actually, they were on today.
And those 2 movies are bad.
The original Ghostbusters was amazing.
They have some cheese, but they are bad.
But here's the thing, and this is the same problem I had with the new Men in Black movie. No one takes it seriously. No one in the movie takes it seriously. Any of it.
Like, what, the aliens? Or?
In the new Men in Black movie, they're both jokesters and they're both just kind of whatever, haha, you know, fun time. And the new Ghostbusters, it was the same thing. There was no dry humor. There was no seriousness. There was no stakes. I felt like they were doing a bit on Saturday Night Live. It was was, and I defended the heck out of that movie all the way up until I saw it, because people were just boycotting it because it was women,
right?
And that's not cool, you know. But when the movie turned out to be genuinely bad, for me, I was like, okay, wow.
I didn't think it was any worse than the original.
I didn't feel like there was any stakes at all. No, I have to disagree with that. I felt
most
the originals.
People's love for the originals are all nostalgia. That's all it is. Because I like the originals.
The original Ghostbusters was
back
awesome.
then.
You got to remember too that those special effects, though cheesy looking now, were top of the line and state of the art back in the day.
Right. I understand that. But it's still, back in the day, it was still cheese. Any way you cut the cheese, it was still fucking cheese. Okay? And I felt the same thing with the new reboot movie. Nothing but cheese.
It didn't.
Now, this new one felt like it had some actual seriousness to it, like what you're talking about.
Red light.
It's not red yet. Oops.
You're right. It wasn't red.
Yeah, it was yellow.
It was yellow all the way through it. Yep.
But this one seems like it has a little bit more seriousness to it.
But the other ones did too. The other ones still had a little bit of seriousness to it.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
What was serious about making the fucking squirting the inside of the Statue of Liberty with goo and making it walk down the fucking road? Absolutely nothing. That was dumb and not serious at all.
Egon, well, that was part 2. Part 2 was not as good as part 1. I will straight up say that.
So,
but the first Ghostbusters was freaking amazing.
What's so serious about having a demon?
Dan Aykroyd played a character
living in your refrigerator, okay, that wanted to have sex with the person. Well, that wanted 2 people to have sex just so they could become.
But who wouldn't want to have sex with Rick Moranis?
Me?
I mean, Sigourney Weaver. I mean, Sigourney. No. I mean, look, right?
Please.
Egon had a dry, serious kind of humor to him. You remember the jokes that Egon would say?
Yes.
Can I have a piece of your brain matter for study?
I do remember that.
Okay, he wasn't.
I don't remember anybody in that other movie.
They were all like that. Okay, so at the beginning of the original Ghostbusters movie, right? They all lose their funding. They're all in a project together. They lose their funding. They go away. In the new one, they literally ruined this lady's life. A week before she's supposed to get tenure, and she's goes and be buddy with them. Dan Aykroyd always acted like he was taking things seriously. He acted basically like a regular person would act if they were in a situation like that. And so did Ernie Hudson.
I don't know, dude. I don't agree.
Maybe you guys can settle this one for us, because we're gonna have to totally disagree here.
I'm not saying they were actually bad movies. I'm just saying that neither one of those was better than the reboot. I'm not saying the reboot was good either.
I disagree.
I just will not.
I disagree. Maybe part 2.
Cheese.
Maybe part 2. But even part 2, the characters had a dynamic that was just missing.
Well, yeah, it's called. They were.
That's because they forgot how to do frontman humor.
I don't know, man.
For every stupid person, there needs to be a smart person shaking their head at them. What the? Yeah, this guy doesn't know his lights are off. Do it a bunch of times. Bam. Right. There you go.
You want to hang out the window and tell him his lights are on?
Get up next to him.
Oh shit, I'm not going to be able to. They know something's up. Their interior light is on.
They're gonna get someone killed.
Probably themselves. See how they can't even see.
Oh, they're pulling over.
Good.
Well, we just passed a person that was driving down the freeway with their lights off, and we couldn't catch up to them in time to let them know. So, but it looks like they were pulling over.
Yeah. They had no lights on, except for the interior. And that is not safe, especially in the rain.
No doubt. Mr. Rogers would be so disappointed.
Yeah, right? Come on. Morals, learn from him.
Right.
Jeez. Anyway, so guys, I do need to mention that we are at 135 subscribers at the filming of this video. So rock on.
Hell
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, keep it coming.
And I should say congratulations to somebody out there who's going to win a $25 gift card of their choosing. I'll send you a list whenever we pick. I'll talk to Big Ben here and we'll see how we'll decide. And next time we do a video at the studio, we will pick a winner.
Heck yeah.
Of a $25 gift card to pretty much anywhere you want. I'll send you a list of what I've got. And yeah. But I'm really excited though.
Yeah.
Because our next milestone is 500 subs for a $50 gift card.
Wow, you guys hear that?
And I can't wait till we get to that milestone. And we're gonna start giving away stuff in the videos too. But I need you guys to start commenting more.
Yep.
And once we get more comments, we'll start giving more things away.
You guys can comment all you want and tell this guy why Ghostbusters the original was the greatest of them all.
And tell him why he's completely just hooked up on the nostalgia of it. Hey man, I tell my son not to make those fucking noises. Don't you make them.
You know what? Just for that, I hope this movie has tentacles.
It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me at all. I still gotta do that short of where he's just fucking some dumbass in Hollywood writing add tentacles on the fucking scripts.
Right?
Right on the front. And then he's gonna send it back to everybody, add tentacles.
That might be the Chinese pandering.
Maybe.
Because they love the octopuses.
I don't know if that's true or not. But
Neither do I.
I think it's just those assholes over in Hollywood. They think tentacles are the scariest thing ever.
Trying to create a new stereotype, man.
I am creating a new stereotype. Hollywood people.
Yeah, they're tentacles.
Not the actors, but the writers. They just fucking add tentacles everywhere. I don't know if it's the same guy or if it's just everybody there that wants to add them. I don't know. All right, guys.
We are here.
We're here.
And we are gonna watch this movie, and there will be a review afterwards.
Return.
So we'll see you then.
Peace. Hey guys.
And we're back.
All right.
Just watched the movie, and we have a non-spoiler part of the review that we will do now. We'll do a spoiler here in a little bit. If you guys watch the show, then you know how this works. What did you think?
I don't know if I can say anything without actually spoiling it.
Well, did you like it?
Not entirely, no.
Not entirely. Why? Didn't go as you expected?
Yes, it was not what I expected it to be. Damn, I'm at a loss for words because I feel like if I say anything, it kind of spoils the movie.
Right. Well, what kind of a score will you give it?
I would give it a 5.
A 5? Average?
Half. Well, with my score, 5 is a little slightly above average because 4 in my book is average. So slightly above average.
Okay.
Was it a good movie? It drug a lot for an hour and 47 minutes or whatever it is.
There really wasn't as much story there as there should have been for as long as it ran.
Yeah, and I felt like it was longer than Endgame. You know, I felt like I was sitting there longer than Endgame. You know, Endgame was like, bam, hit you from the start, and it never stopped. You know, and it was worth the 3 hours, and you didn't feel like you were there for 3 hours. You know, This one you felt like you were there longer than 3 hours. Right. You know, and it just wasn't what I expected, and I'm trying not to judge it on what I expected. But it's hard not to judge a movie on what you expect.
Yeah, and you know, without saying any spoilers, this really wasn't a movie about Mr. Rogers.
See, that's what I didn't want to say.
Well,
because I feel that's a spoiler.
That's not really a spoiler.
Because you don't know that until you go in there and start watching it. You know?
I mean, but if you're going expecting a movie about Mr. Rogers, you're going to be disappointed because the movie's not about Mr. Rogers.
No. I mean, it is in a way, but then it's not in a way. Also.
Grandma, what did you think?
I liked it. It wasn't what I expected either, but I liked it better than what I expected it to be.
What score would you give it out of 10?
Maybe a 6.
Nice.
I hated the way the aspect changed to aspect ratio.
Right.
It's like cut from like full screen to widescreen, full screen to widescreen. And I hated that. And it would do it like when it was doing like the city view like they did in the show, or when they were trying to portray it being on the show itself, they did that. And I didn't like that. I hate that.
Right.
So that's what gave it an even lower score. When they do silly stuff like that.
Right.
I didn't care for it. But what did you think?
You know, it wasn't what I expected at all. I expected a movie about Mr. Rogers, and that's not what I got.
And the acting was great.
The acting was good. Tom Hanks. Oh, I hate to say this because I love Tom Hanks, but he gave me a creepy ass vibe at the beginning of this movie.
Well, that's Mr. Rogers kind of gives you a creepy vibe. When you first know,
I never got that kind of vibe off of Mr. Rogers. Like, you know, I'm not sure if he was talking to me or Wilson. Because he I don't know. That kind of changed a little later on in the movie, but at first I was like, okay, no, this is a little weird. But you know what? I thought the acting was good. I thought the writing was good. I liked the writing. It was a very heartfelt story that really got me a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not saying that.
Before he said he was going to be the one that was probably going to be crying, and then there was me in the theater. I was the one who was crying.
Well, I mean,
it got me a couple of times.
It hit home.
Yeah, it got me a couple of times, and any movie or any show that can do that, I give extra points to. But you know, I thought that the movie was good, just totally not what I expected. And if subverting your expectations is your thing, then you're gonna love this movie. And if it's not, then you're probably gonna hate this movie. But I would give it a 7, a solid 7. Though you were right, it did drag in points a lot. There was actually okay, that's a spoiler, but it did drag. And the story itself was not about Mr. Rogers, even though Mr. Rogers was in most of the story.
Right. And I feel like the story was about Mr. Rogers' impact on the main character in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and the family.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Well,
but
yeah.
It wasn't about Mr. Rogers. It wasn't a biography about Mr. Rogers.
Right.
You know, and that's what the advertising kind of
basically
made it out to be.
In fact, I don't think I ever seen the other guy in the advertising at all.
Mm-mm.
The main character of the story.
No. Not at all.
So, there you have it. You got a 7 from me. You got a 5 from Jake Vamp here. Grandma gave it a 6.
So
now it's time.
5, 6, 7.
Now it's time for the spoiler part of the review. So if you haven't seen it, go see it so you'll know what we're talking about. And if you're not interested in seeing it, just keep watching. And if you are, then go see it and then come back and finish watching this video because you know you want to. So there was a whole, I had to have lasted longer than a minute of complete silence in the movie that was deafening.
No, it was. I actually appreciated that where everybody just kind of stopped. They overheard him talking, and everybody just stopped and took a minute of silence in the entire restaurant. That was kind of cool,
right?
But it's.
I could have swore that lasted over a minute, though.
Huh?
I could have swore that lasted more than a minute.
1 minute feels like a lifetime, trust me. Especially when I'm looking at the time clock ready to punch in. And it's like, okay, it's 7:54. I can clock in at 7:55. And it takes just forever.
Right. I mean, you could be right about that. It just seemed really long.
Yeah.
But
I feel like Mr. Rogers should have had more than 15 minutes in the movie.
Right.
You know? I feel like he had less time than Iron Man in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Well, I don't know about that.
You know, I mean,
the movie was not about him.
Yeah,
it was about this guy and his dysfunctional ass family.
Right. And I feel they should have advertised it as that.
Yeah.
As a biopic of Mr. Rogers.
Right.
Because I would have loved a biopic.
A biopic, yeah, or even just like a I don't know.
You know, the Steve Jobs movies. Okay. Neither one of them were particularly great, but they were about Steve Jobs.
Right.
You know? It wasn't Steve Jobs. Right. And then it focused on somebody fucking else.
Right. The whole movie.
It just didn't make any sense to name it A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood if it wasn't specifically about Mr. Rogers.
Right. And by the way, every day in that
lot.
neighborhood was pretty shitty.
Yeah. It took a lot away from me, personally.
Right.
I couldn't, it bored me. I loved the scenes with Mr. Rogers. I loved the scenes with Tom Hanks and everything. And if they would have just left those in there and cut everything else, I would have been happy.
You know,
it would have been a 30-minute movie, but I would have been happy.
Yeah, so the movie's about a guy who's a reporter for Esquire magazine.
I'm going to look this up because I don't remember any of this happening either.
I do remember a very good story happening about Mr. Rogers that was so famous that it was even on the news, like this story about Mr. Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember something about that, so it sounds familiar, but I don't think that was the person that did that. And
No, because they said based on an article written by the name was different.
right, yeah. And I think that, but I don't know, man. It was a neat story, but it was Mr. Rogers was a side character.
Yeah.
You know, he was
a supporting character.
Yeah, it was a supporting character. It's supposed to be about him.
Yeah.
Not the impact he has on this one dysfunctional family.
Why would you put him on the cover and name it something like A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood unless you're just using his face or his character as a draw? It's clickbait.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. There was like, I didn't know Mr. Rogers did the voices for his puppets.
You didn't?
I did not know that. No, I thought he had people doing that for him.
Well, I'm sure
That was a neat little thing that I didn't know.
I'm sure there was points when he was in there walking around with them where other people puppeteered, or maybe he recorded them and then did that. You know,
Right.
I don't know.
And then what about the the dream? It was not really a dream. It was more like a bad acid trip that the guy went on.
Oh yeah.
Where he's suddenly a rabbit and he's on the show, and I was like, man, you need to stay off the mushrooms, dude.
Yeah, right.
So this was supposed to be set in the 80s, right?
That's what I
It was
gathered.
98.
98.
98, okay.
I don't know, when did he die?
It's only been a few years.
Yeah, it was just not too long ago.
Well, time flies too. I'll have to look it up. Could have sworn it's been a few years. But I was just overall highly disappointed in
It wasn't what I
they
expected.
marketed it as.
Right. You know, if it was an okay movie, if it
Yeah, you're right. It was an okay movie, but my expectation was something about Mr. Rogers.
about Mr. Rogers, exactly.
You know, and it had a really awesome scene in it where they get on the subway and these kids and adults, all walks of life. You have what look to be homeless people, possible gang members, small children, older children, police
Cops,
officers.
yeah.
You know, you had all people of all walks of life there, and they just start singing the intro. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and that was a beautiful scene.
That was cool. Yes.
You know, and that just shows what Mr. Rogers inspired on a small scale. You know, I just wish there was
exactly
more of that.
all the parts with Mr. Rogers was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you cut away, and then you
for
follow
20,
this guy
30
home.
minutes
Yeah,
at a time.
exactly. And so for that, you know, and yeah.
Are you lowering your score already?
No, I'm not lowering my score. I did like the movie.
I'm just saying.
You know,
it was okay. That's why I gave it an above average score, because it wasn't a terrible movie. It wasn't insane or nothing.
right.
You know.
This is a movie about loss and death. This is a movie
And
about hurt
overcoming
and forgiveness.
and family.
And I think the main theme about this movie was forgiveness.
Yeah. It did kind of play out as an episode of his show.
However, it didn't seem like the person who was forgiven deserved it. But
that's very true. But it kind of played out as like one of his shows. You know, he started with the song, he ended with his end song, and then throughout the show, it was like popping up here and there.
They put the World Trade Center in the little model. That was neat.
Yeah. And it kept cutting to the model, you know, like the TV show would.
Yeah.
But then it cropped it for some reason. I didn't get that.
What, on the side?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they were showing some actual footage.
It may have been actual footage, but
because back then it was all the 4:9 format.
Right, but it may have been actual footage and everything. But why do actual footage there when they're not doing actual footage anywhere else?
Right.
That to me it makes no sense. You did an actual footage at the end of the film, you know, during the like the beginning credits and everything. Stick around for that very beginning credits where Mr. Rogers is singing, and then you actually get to see Mr. Rogers.
You can tell by the voice as soon as you hear it, it's like, oh yeah, that's the real Mr. Rogers there.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is such an iconic character anyway.
Yeah,
such an iconic actor.
He did a great job.
He did. I mean, he, like I said, he gave me the creeps a little at first, but yeah, he pulled it out. You know.
It's not what I would.
That's not what I read, you guys.
Oh yeah, he was kind of creepy. He pulled it out a little bit. You know?
Well, the first thing he does is start undressing. I mean,
man, you're gonna kill us all, man. You're gonna make me crash. Okay, well, apparently Tom Hanks pulled it out.
Yep.
And he was creepy and pulled it out.
Creepy and pulled it out after he undressed at the beginning.
Jeez.
But yeah, the movie's not about Mr. Rogers. It's not a movie about Mr. Rogers.
And I don't feel like I want my money back. You know.
It was. I mean, I thought it was a heartwarming and touching movie with a lot of adult themes. Like I say, it deals mostly with death. Right. This movie, death and forgiveness,
and pulling it out,
and undressing in front of the kids. Won't you be my neighbor?
No, because you're on the registry.
Right.
Jeez, man.
You know, I might have felt, like I say, I might have felt better about this movie if it was about Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I just feel now I want to see what that, because I held off watching the actual A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood documentary thing, because I thought this was going to be basically
that.
Not like exactly that, but like,
right.
You know, like every other documentary, like bio
right.
remake.
It's supposed to be. I thought that the story of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah,
that's what I was expecting.
Of Mr. Rogers as portrayed by Tom Hanks.
Right.
You know.
That's not what we got.
And
no, this was the story of a reporter.
About 15, 20 minutes of it.
Whose life got changed by Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
But.
And I don't know. I felt like it was.
It was not what was advertised.
Not advertised.
Yes.
And that makes me sad.
Right. But you know what you gotta do? You gotta forgive those people. And you gotta look at yourself and say, I'm worth forgiving those people. Because I'm a special guy.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
Every time I try to do that in public, they just look at me weird.
Well, maybe you shouldn't talk to yourself.
But I'm a special guy.
Maybe
who else am I going to talk to?
Maybe you shouldn't be like, you're a special guy. You need to forgive people.
Yes. Because I'm good enough.
Or, you know, when
I'm
you're
smart enough.
When you're
gosh darn it, people like me.
when you're staring in the mirror or the glass reflection or, you know, over a puddle reflection, you know, you can't just be talking to yourself like that. Right? That's why people look at you.
Okay? It was okay for Mr. Rogers, and it's okay for me.
Mr. Rogers is actually talking to other people, like in a screen.
Ah, I see.
Like, or in a camera through a screen.
Well, I guess I won't go to the store and pull it out then.
You should definitely not go to any stores and pull anything out unless it's your wallet, son.
But
I feel like I'm going through a racetrack, or not a racetrack,
Obstacle.
yeah.
obstacle course. So there you have it, guys. Our
Yep.
thoughts on A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. We hope you guys enjoy this video.
Yep.
And come back and join us very soon for that drawing for the $25 gift card.
That's right. Let us know what you thought of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood down in the comments there. What do you think? Do you agree with Jake? Do you agree with me? Do you think that or do you have a different opinion? Let us know. Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share to all your friends on social media and find out what they think, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Hey guys, if you like that video, make sure to like and subscribe and click here for more. And if you don't, Jake won't feed me anymore. So please make sure you do.